Joining us now, Jefferies analyst Brent Thill raises his price target on both names, reiterates both Microsoft actually a top pick. Brent, let's start with Microsoft, of course. Overall, I don't know, anything give you any pause at all in this quarter, or was it just all across the board, either as good as you had hoped for or better?
Good morning, David. I think it was a lot better than anyone would have thought. The enterprise demand's holding up. Their margins are holding up. They've said that they can monetize AI stronger than they did even in the cloud world. So they're showing no signs of backing off on CapEx. There was a huge fear of a lot of data points that they were pulling back in data centers. That is not the case when you talk to them internally, that they're optimizing their inventory rather than pulling back. So I think you got a great print, both top and bottom line. I think the big surprise is that they're seeing enterprise strength even in April. And so no one really cared about what happened in the quarter. They care more about the forecast and are they seeing any of these tariff impacts in the numbers? They were very clear there is no impact in the enterprise yet. And I think everyone is skeptical, including myself, that if McDonald's and United and Delta and all these companies are basically pulling back and saying we're seeing lower demand, how would you see IT demand as strong in the back half of the year? So I do think there's a delayed reaction in software. The good news is we're not seeing it. SAP, ServiceNow, Microsoft, even Meta on their CapEx raise. You're really not seeing big signs yet.
And the guidance from Meta as well. I mean, again, perhaps defying some other expectations of a slowdown that might result again in companies cutting back on their advertising. I mean, their guidance, Brent, didn't seem to indicate that at all, did it?
No pullback. I mean, it was a tale of two cities between Snap and what Meta said. And I think Meta comes back to they have the best ROI for advertisers. They have the strongest community of users. And they have so many different touch points in their platform. They're not one product, they're multiple products. So Meta, I think another shocker when you advertise is the first thing you see that goes. And the only indication of weakness in the advertising landscape is China, which makes sense that they wouldn't be advertising as strongly on the platform. So that was really the only issue. Again, they lowered expense by $1 billion, but raised CapEx by $5 billion. And I think it goes back to the big question is, why are all these tech companies spending like the railroad companies building these tracks? When are we going to see a return? And what I think every one of these companies is saying is, we're seeing the return, we have pricing power, we have good margins, and we're not, there's no fear factor that Wall Street is making that's showing up in any of the numbers yet. So, again, very solid across both sides. I think it's, again, somewhat of a shocker relative to what the expectations were. And again, good to see good numbers.
Are they spending more to compete with the Chinese e-commerce, which we're just hearing more about, and the Chinese AI companies like a DeepSeek? And should that be a source of investor angst and an overhang?
For Meta, we've said if you believe in DeepSeek and you believe in open source, so there's two models, right? We've seen, the rise of closed source with Microsoft and an open source company like Red Hat that was purchased by IBM. Same thing's happening in AI. You have closed source models like OpenAI, and then you have open source models like Llama and DeepSeek. And what I've said is, if you believe in DeepSeek and you believe in that open source push, you've got to believe in Meta and you have to believe in Llama. Llama is doing extremely well. I think U.S. companies will trust Llama more than they do DeepSeek right now. We've heard this even from the CEO of Databricks, who presented with Zuckerberg on stage at the Meta Llama conference, that they're seeing massive adoption of Llama and DeepSeek together and ensuring that they coexist and work together in a better way. So we do believe that there's a free call option in Meta stock around Llama and the emergence of this product. And they haven't figured out how to monetize it in a broader way, but it will help advertisers get better targeting and help users find the information they need faster.